Hello and most welcome to H 1977. We are approaching the mighty 2000 step by step. It is only 23 left until 2000. Isn't that crazy? 2000. We will then, after that, be the biggest producers of videos on YouTube in the area of philosophy, science. We'll have beaten them all. We will today continue with Flesh for Frankenwhore, reading Babylon's Body in Revelation. This is a continuation of 1973. Last time we went into fractal borders. Fractal borders. And how seams in the monster glue everything together. It becomes pasted together. And this is in order to make accurate incisions. I would say it also makes the possibility for unity. Unity cannot be if it's from the beginning only one. It is when oppositions come into play, we can have oneness, singularity, and unity. And the seams also brings the text together. By their differences alone, they become one. Many authors bring one author. It's close to the spiral where different forces going in all sorts of directions, often with a wide variety of origins and identities and characters. They all make it for one singular direction. And this is permanence. This is forever. Forever and eternity. Eternity. There is also a mentioning of Nineveh, Tyre, Jerusalem, and Babylon. Them being in alliances connects together. When I read that, those four mentioned places, I also think about the four that divides into 12 to make 3. And once more, we have this most important feature of 12ness, binding it all together by differences, by oppositions. I will continue to read where I left off at page 151. This brings us back to Frankenstein films. Frankenstein. Frankenstein film. Horror, horror, definite horror. What can one do? It doesn't seem anything that we can do.
Yes, we need an exorcist.
For the same can be said of Henry Frankenstein in Wales film by declaring no blood, no decay, just a few stitches. He overlooks the fleshy and focuses on the sanitized, on the sanitized, on the sanitized. However, it is the fleshy nature of the body which he comes to fear as the film progresses. Progresses.
Fleshy nature of the body. Yum, yum, yum.
We have seen how the reading practices above have also focused on stitches rather than flesh, making the horse textual body safe by focusing on symbolic frets and the origins of parts rather than the sum of them. Some of them. We now turn the text to Revelation 17 with our focus on the fleshly rather than the figurative. Figurative. 3. I am all woman. Woman! I'm all woman. I'm all woman. The importance of reading the whore as figurative rather than fleshly is strongly supported by Rossing, who believes that only in a brief section, Revelation 17, 3 to 4, is Babylon primarily personified as a woman. Woman, woman, woman. After this, the author constructs Babylon predominantly as a city in the tradition of biblical city personifications. 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 However, the text actually urges its readers to resist rendering her only symbolic.
Only.
Revelation 17 opens with the announcement of the whore's judgment and a description of the king's fornication with her. It then introduces her body to the audience. Audience, audience,
Audience.
detailing how it is seated on a beast, dressed in scarlet and purple, and adorned with gold and precious stones, holding a cup.
Yummy, yummy.
Yummy, yummy. Having words on her forehead describe her as Babylon the Great, mother of the whores and abominations of the earth,
Ouch, ouch.
of the earth,
Yes.
and drunk on the blood of the saints. Oh dear, oh dear. The beast she rides is then described in more detail and its interpretation offered. The whore is then returned to, and her future destruction described in great and gory detail.
Ouch. Oh, mamma mia.
Destroyed by 10 horns and the beast, who have also waged war on the lamb, on the lamb. Only then, after she has been annihilated, are the readers told the woman, Igini,
Bikini.
whom you saw is the great city or polis I megali that has a sovereignty over the kings of the earth, of the earth. Of the earth.
Yeah.
Of the earth,
Yes.
and drunk on the blood of the saints. Who? The beast she rides is then described
You're something.
in.
Therefore.
No, I reread one.
Okay. Therefore. Therefore. Dus, paragraaf.
Oh, sorry. Therefore, it appears narratively logical, however disturbing it might be, to argue that she is presented to the audience as a fleshy body,
Yummy, yummy.
not just at the start, as Rossing claims, but right through until the end of her destruction. 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 The fleshly is not entirely turned to symbol 4, as David Orn points out. The interpretation of the woman is not made explicit until verse 18. 18. Elisabeth Schüssler Fiorenza makes a similar concession in chapter 17. Babylon is seen primarily as a feminine figure and secondarily as a city. As a city, as a city. while chapter 18 focuses on the whore as a city. Chapter 17 does not abandon the feminine, despite telltale ciphers.
666.
Yeah, 666 or 616, and female city images being brought into the picture. Therefore, it is logical to argue that the body of the whore, its threatening nature and its destruction, have an important fleshly aspect which ought to be acknowledged in readings.
Yummy.
Yummy, 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 yummy. We have seen above how current readings generally overlook her female body as presented by the text, cutting her up and focusing on her as a city. However, these readings actually ignored all things feminine or had some elements of the female body remained in the symbolic interpretations.
Interpretations.
Zdravo, Mirja.
Is it recording?
Interpretation. Interpretation. Zdravo, Mirja, dobrodošli.
Thank you for welcoming me. Nice to hear your voices.
The same, I'm so happy you're here, Mirja.
The same.
Yummy, yummy.
Yummy, yummy. Therefore,
Nou, Nauten. In Nauten.
we now turn to portrayals of female monsters in Frankenstein movies to help us imagine the fleshly whore
Yummy, yummy.
and to assist our understanding of how a female body has affected scholarly perceptions, even though the flesh has not been the focus, not been the focus. 4. She's alive, alive. She's alive. Frankenstein films have produced many female monsters. They range from the ugly and traumatized, such as James Whale's Bride of Frankenstein, and Helen Bonham Carter's portrayal in Branagh's Mary Shelley's Frankenstein to the seductive killer in Terence Fisher's Frankenstein created woman.
Seductive killer. Yummy, yummy.
And the sexually stimulating in Paul Morrissey Flesh for Frankenstein,
Yummy, 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 yummy.
1973, also in the depiction. Their bodies are brought to life by filmmakers in the same way as their male counterparts, generally by being sewn together from the parts of others. Bienvenue différence. Bienvenue différence. Monsieur Derrida. Suing tendency. However, the purpose of their bodies is somewhat different. Difference. When the female monsters are introduced onto the scene, then the agenda turns to sex.
Yummy, yummy.
The creation. Oh dear, Kalle. The creation of the creation of a female body creates sexual urges in men, including Frankenstein, the male monster, and various others who happen to encounter her. Encounter her.
Encounter.
These sexual urges lead to destruction, sometimes the destruction of her body, and often also of the men who desire her. Likewise, the introduction of the whore of Babylon in Revelation 17 seems to have the same effect. The scene opens with John hearing that he is going to see a prostitute.
Oh,
And that the kings of earth have fornicated emporresan with her. Verse 2. What is this fornication?
Yummy.
Oh dear, Kalle, steady on.
Ouch.
The word porneo, usually translated as fornicate, had a broad usage within the Greco-Roman world, but is directly associated with the word for whore, porni, porni. It could be used figuratively, often occurring in the Septuagint to describe idol worship. Idol worship.
Oh, George.
Idol worship.
Oh, George.
However, its most literal meaning is to engage in sexual immorality, engage in illicit sex,
Yes.
to fornicate, and is generally used to refer to acts separate from adultery, moshea, michia. So from a literal perspective, when the whore arrives, this term clearly indicates that sex is on offer. Oh dear.
Money.
Oh,
Money.
sex is on offer for sale. Oh no. It's the objectification and salesman. Figurative readings of the text obviously argue that the passage is not about sex, but that the term is being used to symbolize her seducing people to go astray through idolatry, economic relationships. As Rossing states, the author constructs Babylon drawing on prostitution imagery to warn of Rome's seductive economic power. Seductive economic power. Taking notes. Seductive. Seductive aspects are still noticed with her ability to lead people astray. Astray. One of her key threats, the two verbs in Revelation 17:2, called commit prostitution, porneo, and become drunk, metheo, make clear the great prostitute's danger in seduction and intoxicating the world, states Rossing. Beale comments on the outward attractiveness by which whores try to seduce others. Others.
Coach. Seduce.
And Ian Boxall notes that essentially the scene functions on the association of the female
Female.
with the alluring, seductive whore.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
Very good. Even Adela Yarbrough Collins, who sees no sexual desire, still describes the whore as seductive. Seductive. This reveals that no matter how much her symbolic city identity is focused upon, the ability of a fleshly female to seduce and to cause desire is still retained. 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 And yet, ironically, this reading of the whore as an active seductress inscribes onto her fleshly body something it is not specifically accused of. Accused of. The only person charged with such actions is Jezebel in Revelation 2:20. She leads my servants astray into sexual immorality. Planatus emus dolus pornese. Reference to Babylon as she is portrayed in chapters 18 and 19 are more active, directly accused with a second person singular address.
Address.
Because all the nations were led astray by your magic potion.
Potion. Magic. Pharmakia.
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 Otienti pharmakia su eplanifisan. Panda ta efni. Panda ta efni. Panda ta efni. Her active sin was to corrupt. She corrupted the earth by her fornication. Efgerentin gin enti pornia aftis. Pornia aftis. Pornia aftis. Potanes. But these references are later in the text. The initial description of the whore does not mention leading astray or actively seducing into fornication, despite the number of scholars who read it this way,
I did it.
my way. Such readings involve can't see here, inscribing these other parts of the text onto chapter 17. Revelation 17:2 actually indicates that it is those who have committed sex acts with a whore who have been active instead of innocents seduced by a rampant evil woman. Rampant evil woman. The prostitute with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and those who inhabit the earth have been made become drunk from the wine of her prostitution.
Wine.
Fornication.
Wine.
Wine, beautiful wine. This is so very lovely.
Pina colada.
The whore is not the subject of eporevsan, accused of seducing unsuspecting punters, but rather the object. They have fornicated, had sex with her. There is no mention of leading astray, in contrast to the accusations brought should be against Jezebel. It appears that the punters have have been happy to engage with her in the first place. She is a harlot. She is a harlot. She is a harlot. Like the female in Flesh for Frankenstein, men approach her for sex rather than her actively seducing them into it. Into it. The whore of Babylon is not so much the evil seductress as the prostitute whom many men choose to visit. Therefore, we can see that the key charge brought against the whore in Revelation 17:2 is not that she has seduced the kings into fornication, but rather that the kings have carried out fornication with her. A subtle difference.
Difference.
Difference. Her ability to be penetrated is ignored when she is rendered symbolic of idol worship, and her ability to seduce brought to the fore and inscribed upon her. Upon her! This reveals two important points.
Two.
First, it shows that it is difficult not to read seduction onto woman's body even when reading practices actively try to ignore the flesh. The flesh.
Yummy, yummy.
The flesh. Secondly, it shows that the literal sex acts which have been carried out are overlooked in chapter 17, when symbolic practices are focused upon Japan, Chonam, Tokyo, Japan. These two factors have led to the whore of Babylon being understood as an evil seductress rather than a multiply penetrated prostitute. Five, flesh and blonde destruction. Flesh and blonde destruction.
Destruction.
We have seen how the whore of Babylon, like Frankenstein's females in their various guises, presents a body which brings sex into the picture. We have also seen how her body can be read as a fleshly as well as symbolically. We now turn our focus to how she has a fleshly body which is destroyed by the males who had sex with her. To reimagine her destruction, we turn again to Frankenstein's females and their gory ends. For as already mentioned above, Frankenstein's females and As already mentioned above, the female monsters in Frankenstein movies are often destroyed. Destroyed! Horrible, horrible destruction! Oh no, I can't withstand it. What can I do? For example, in Bride of Frankenstein, 1935, when the female rejects the advances of the monster, he destroys them both. Them both. In Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, 1994, Elizabeth realizes she is hideous and burns herself to death.
Oi.
To death, oh dear, to death. In Flesh for Frankenstein, 1973, Frankenstein's assistant Otto wants to penetrate the body of the female, but he is too brutal, ripping her open and very visibly disemboweling her. Oh no, oh no, oh no. This final example with its gory detail is most similar to the destruction of the whore of Babylon, who is stripped, eaten, and burnt. Verse
Yummy, yummy.
16. Oh dear. So I think that's a good ending point.
Eating a bird.
And verse 16, 1977. 1977.
And the page number is 157.
157. I do note that. Burnt, burnt, burnt. Burnt, burnt, burnt,
Eaten.
burnt.
Yummy, yummy.
So let's go for some sights here. Let's have a look, see what we can find. Burnt, burnt. Let's see here. Let's find out. What can we do? What do we have for doings? I don't know. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Do bear with me if you can. So there were a lot of differences here, I could say. She's alive, alive, alive. I have a bit of trouble with the pages here, but I think it's 153.
She's alive is 153.
And she's alive. Before that. And about 5 or 6 lines down, we have their bodies are brought to life by filmmakers in the same way as their male counterparts, generally by being sewn together from the parts of others. And here, once more, we have this important fractal idea of putting together to make one singular unity. As we know from physics, oneness in the beginning doesn't make for unity. Unity is a possibility. But if you start with a mistaken Scaraby box of an atomic identity, you will never reach unity. Unity can only be reached by taking different parts in. That's the only charge. This is the oppositions coming into conclusion. It is like a bridge between two sides, and being sewn together is the actual development of unity, oneness. I think we took a look at Heraclitus yesterday, and he said plurality can only come from singularity, whereas singularity can only come from plurality. That also goes from quantum physics. If you go to page 154, as Rossing states, this is like 20 lines down, as Rossing states, there you are. The author constructs Babylon. The author constructs Babylon, just like it's sewn together. Constructs Babylon, drawing on the prostitution imagery to warn of Rome's seductive economic power. While we have seen that her fleshy body is generally overlooked in symbolic readings, the desire it provokes are not. And I think this is pertinent here. It's Babylon is also sewn together. It's also drawn on different parts to make it an understandable thing. And here I will go over to Edward de Bono. In a famous site, he says, language is extremely good for description, pointing to a sort of a molecular or morphemic idea, and analyzing, having everything apart. But it's not very good when it comes to meaning. For to have meaning, you need to have the opposing pairs, and you need something new. In David McNeill, we notice that the imbalance or the instability created by having an analyzable morphemic language of spoken words and the synthetic gesture, you get the necessary imbalance, instability to have meaning. In David McNeill, it's the groove point, it's the growing of meaning. In only language, you have little but none. you need to sew the opposing pairs together. And this is also the working of the prostitute or the harlot of Babylon. She sews together to construct the possibility for goodness as well as evil. Without her, it could be neither. Everything would be a blur. We will have no permanence. Just as people striving to make God into an existence will always seem to have a God lacking in reality. That could only be put together or soon together if you bring in his absence, bring his counterpart. Then you can have singularity, only God. So it's a two-step maneuver that goes simultaneously. If we then go to page 156, so we see here first a sight from Revelation 17:2, and then a bit of explanation here, how everything is sewn together. See also how the prostitute sewed together the desire or the wants of men. She wouldn't actively be able to seduce them if that desire weren't present. They need, for the whole possibility of yet another encounter with the opposite, be drawn to her willingly by free will. Only then can she be carrying the significations that she does by taking in the opposing pair of the punter. I like the term punter. It's a bit out of style here. It's a bit coarse, but I like it here. It was a good job of Fletcher to bring it in here. The destruction that we read is also something already carried in this want from the outside, because it brings the most pertinent side. The outsideness needs to come into her, literally penetrate her, to make for her singularity as a meaningful symbol for Rome or Jerusalem, whatever you care for. Woman, the body of woman is naturally seductive, but they also is a seduction coming from the men, the man. So it's the kings who do it actively, but by doing it actively, she can also become active and meaningful. They go hand in hand. The two opposing forces are very important. Together, together, hooray, they bring forth meaning in the world. I compare her just like gesticle language brings together meaning with spoken, analyzable language. Sorry for my slip. Kalle Lundahl,
Yes.
please enter the stage.
Thank you. 151. Yeah, 151. Rather than some of them. So I did the whole phrase.
We have seen how the reading practices above have also focused on stitches rather than flesh, making the whole textual body safe by focusing on simple threads and the origins of parts rather than some of them. I agree with Fletcher here that the sum is important, or they are contemporary, we could say that. So in quantum physics, you could say that everything is simultaneous. There is the whole and the parts occur at the same time.
Yes, yes. You have step by step and simultaneity at the very same time. And parts and whole at the same time. Very good. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And we have been discussing this paper by McNeil.
David McNeil, yes.
Let me see the key phrase. Here, I think it's here. This is the key phrase. Meaning determination moves from whole to parts, not from parts to whole.
Yes.
Or we could actually say it even better, that they are at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, it's not possible. And whoever is interested in the subject can read from McGilchrist, Matter with Things, chapter 21, where there is one chapter entitled The One and the Many. There are many great quotes there. One from Heraclitus, which reads, "It is wise, listening not to me, but to the Logos, to agree that all things are one. It is wise, listening not to me, but to the Logos, to agree that the one is all things."
Oh, yeah,
so
indeed.
one at the same time. There is great insight to pick from Heraclitus.
Definitely, Heraclitus, and thanks also to McGilchrist. Yeah, cheers.
Yes, and it's easy, difficult to be thinking in terms of time. But in quantum physics, there is actually no time. It's constructed afterwards.
Yes, it's after the fact, after the happening.
So in superposition, everything is at the same time. So that is in superposition, the singular, that is, let's say, the Old Testament references, and the whole are in superposition, so to say. And
Indeed.
Only when you check it out, then you see it collapses.
It collapses, and it's in the describing act or the observation. It's a bit like language. It takes it apart and puts it in order. But the order and the simultaneity is still there.
There are several dichotomies in the text that Michael Fletcher makes a good job in pointing them out. So one dichotomy is between woman and city.
Yeah.
And we should, they are in pair. You cannot say that one is more important than the other. And they also intertwined, city and city. And then another pair. But here I don't agree completely with Fletcher. Let me see the page 155. This is, let me go down a few pages. 155.
It's more interesting to hear what you think, Ale, than what Fletcher thinks.
Yes, okay. So she says that chapter 18 says that she was the active part in corrupting. She corrupted the earth by her fornication. Here the famous pharmakeia. Or excuse me, it was the previous sentence, because all the nations were led up by the massive potion. And I would say like this: Revelation 18 emphasizes her active part.
Oh yeah.
While Revelation 17 focuses on her passive part.
Oh yeah.
And then intertwined.
Intertwined. If there's no passivity, it can be no activity. We know that. It's proven by quantum physics, and ignoring that means to the modern day empty concepts. Monosemia, for instance, we know as a fact they don't transfer any message at all. easy phonetic diagram can show that.
And now something more light-hearted about this title is Alive, Alive. Let me see.
John Travolta from Greece, or is it Bee Gees?
I don't know even which version is the best.
Staying alive. Be careful there so you don't go into the copyright fringe.
No, a few seconds.
Yeah, a few seconds will be done.
Now,
You got new shoes.
cool shoes. But let's ask now if Miriam wants to say. Yes, echo. Why is there echo now?
You need to mute, Kalle,
Ready? I need to mute myself.
or turn the speaker up.
Let me see. No, I'm actually muted. No, yes, no. Excuse me. Okay, Miriam, speak now if you want.
Miria, are you there? You're more than welcome to share.
Yeah, I'm there.
Please.
I only will thank you for the presentation. I'm only following today the lecture.
Okay,
So no comments from me.
It's quite all right. I hope you're feeling better and everything. We send you all joy and energy to you, Miriam.
I will write. Okay?
Stay alive.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. It's so good to hear you.
Oh, should we end there? It was a very beautiful staying alive. Good to hear. I say thank you very much to Kalle Lundahl and Mirja for participating. And I wish everyone who watches in to have a beautiful morning, day, or afternoon. Do take care and see you soon. Bye bye.
Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.